Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Okay, so anyone who's listening to this is probably at least a little bit curious about what social media will look like in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially now that there's so much talk about this new platform, Flow.
Right.
Well, we've got some interesting stuff to dig into today.
Definitely.
We've got excerpts from this report titled Flow, a new era in social media, and also some early user reviews.
Awesome.
We even have some articles that break down Flow's potential impact. So
Yeah.
we're going to do a deep dive into what Flow is, why it's gaining popularity, and what it might mean for the future of social media, especially for those of us who are tired of the same old, same old.
It seems like Flow is really making waves, and for good reason, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's really trying to solve some of the biggest problems that people have with traditional social media.
You know, it's like they looked at everything we've been complaining about for years.
Right.
Like the algorithms and the data privacy issues and all the ads, and they just said, okay, we're going to fix this.
Exactly. And they're doing it in a way that feels kind of new, but also familiar at the same time.
Interesting.
So, yeah, let's start with the basics. Flow launched late last year in 2024.
Okay.
And from what I've seen in this report, it's not like they're trying to completely reinvent the wheel or anything.
Gotcha. So what is Flow? Give us the elevator pitch.
Okay, so imagine a social media platform that actually cares about your experience as a user.
Okay.
It gets rid of all the noise and clutter and focuses on building real connections and meaningful interactions.
That sounds great in theory, but how do they actually do that?
Well, one of the biggest changes they made is bringing back the chronological feed.
Oh, wow.
Remember how back in the day you used to see posts in the order they were posted?
I mean, yeah, but it's been so long.
I know, right? So Flow is bringing that back and getting rid of algorithms altogether.
You know, I complain about algorithms all the time, but I can see how going back to a completely chronological feed could be kind of overwhelming. Would we end up missing important updates from people we actually care about?
Yeah.
I mean, we moved away from chronological feeds for a reason, right?
It's true. It's definitely a trade-off. But think of it this way. With Flow, you're seeing everything in real time, which means you're more present and engaged.
Okay.
It's like going to a live concert versus watching a recording.
I see.
You're right there in the moment, experiencing it as it happens.
Okay. I'm starting to see why people like it.
Yeah.
It's about being more mindful about how we use social media.
Exactly.
But what about data privacy? I know that's something you're really passionate about.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a big concern for me, too.
Well, Flow seems to be taking a strong stance on data privacy.
Okay, good.
They give users total control over who sees their content.
Wow.
No more shady algorithms deciding who sees what. You're in the driver's seat.
That's amazing. But there's got to be a catch, right? No social media platform is perfect.
Well, one thing that's different is their subscription model.
Okay.
Flow is totally ad-free, which is fantastic.
That's great.
But it also means users have to pay a monthly fee to use it.
Okay, so that's the trade-off. No more annoying ads, but now I have to pay for another subscription.
Right.
Ugh, I don't know how I feel about that. Does that mean that only people who can afford it will have access to this better social media experience?
You're right. That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's definitely a potential problem. Flow will need to think about how to make their platform accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
If they really want to create a more inclusive online space.
For sure.
Maybe they could have a tiered system.
Okay.
Where there's a basic free option and then more features for paying subscribers.
That's a good idea. There's more to Flow than just getting rid of ads and algorithms, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've also built productivity tools right into the platform.
Oh, wow. What like?
So think focus timers, task management features.
Okay.
Things that encourage you to engage with the platform in a mindful way.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It really is.
It's like they're admitting that social media can be a huge time waster.
Right.
And they're actually trying to help us use it more productively.
Exactly. It's a complete shift from that whole keep you scrolling forever mentality that most platforms have. Flow wants you to be present, engaged, and in control of your time.
That's so refreshing. Okay, last question before we move on.
Sure.
You know how most social media platforms are all about getting more followers and going viral?
Yeah.
How does Flow handle that?
It's very different. They've really embraced the concept of micro-communities.
Okay.
So instead of following this huge stream of random people, you join smaller, more focused groups that are based on shared interests.
Oh, so it's like finding your tribe, but online.
Exactly.
I kind of love that I can see myself getting really into a micro community for like vintage sci-fi book covers
Totally.
or the history of board games. The possibilities are endless.
Right. It's all about making those deeper connections with people who share your passions.
I love that idea. So we've got a chronological feed, enhanced privacy controls, a subscription model, built-in productivity tools, and micro communities.
Yeah, that's Flow in a nutshell.
That's a lot to process. But how is Flow actually doing? Are people really using this new platform?
Well, according to the report, they've seen massive growth since they launched.
Wow.
And the early user reviews are really positive. Seems like people are genuinely excited about this new approach to social media.
I'm super curious to hear what those users are actually saying. Do we have any specific examples?
Yes. There's this great review on Product Hunt from a user who's been using Flow for over a year
Okay.
to help them focus on their studies and work.
Nice.
And they said they can't imagine going back to traditional social media. They called Flow a joy to use.
Okay. That's a huge compliment. It sounds like Flow is a hit with people who are tired of the craziness of traditional social media.
Yeah, sure.
But is it actually having an impact on the bigger social media world?
That's what we'll talk about next. Flow's success seems to be making the big platforms like Facebook sit up and take notice.
Interesting.
They're scrambling to add similar features to try and get users back.
Really?
It looks like we might be seeing a real change in the world of social media.
Wow. Things are getting interesting. Let's dig into that impact and see what it could mean for the future of social media.
Let's do it. You know, it's almost like Flow is this warning sign.
Oh, interesting.
Its success is saying that people really want something different.
Uh-huh.
A social media experience that puts users first
Okay.
and values genuine connection instead of just profits and endless growth.
So are we seeing the beginning of the end for social media as we know it, like the kind that's driven by ads?
It's Flow the David to the Goliath of Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
It might be too early to say who's going to win,
Okay.
but Flow is definitely shaking things up. The big platforms are trying to add similar features.
Really?
Yeah, like chronological feeds and better privacy controls. But can they really capture what makes Flow so appealing?
That's a good question. It's one thing to copy features, but it's another to actually change your values and priorities.
Right.
It's like when those big soda companies started making their own healthy drinks.
Uh-huh.
Sure, they tasted kind of similar,
Yeah.
but they were still basically the same old sugary drinks underneath.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if these big platforms can really change,
Yeah.
or if it's just a surface-level makeover. But, we should look at this from all sides.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
What are some of Flow's weaknesses?
Well, one big challenge is scalability.
Okay.
As more users join, it's hard to keep that same level of quality and close connection. How do you keep that sense of community as it grows bigger?
Yeah, it's like if your favorite little bookstore suddenly became a huge warehouse,
Exactly.
you might lose that feeling of discovery and personal connection.
Right. And then there's the subscription model.
Yeah.
It gets rid of ads, which is great,
Uh-huh.
and it lets Flow focus on the user experience.
Right.
But it also means that some people might not be able to afford it.
That's the thing I keep coming back to. It's a tough situation.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I want to support a platform that's doing things differently,
Right.
that's putting users first.
Uh-huh.
But then on the other hand, I don't want to create a situation where only people with money can have this better social media experience.
I see what you mean.
Oh.
It's a valid concern. Maybe Flow could try different things,
Yeah.
like partnering with nonprofits or schools
Okay.
to offer cheaper access for certain groups.
Yeah.
Or maybe they could do a tiered system where there's a free basic version
Right.
and then more features for paying subscribers.
Those are some good ideas. It seems like Flow is still a work in progress,
Definitely.
but I appreciate that they're at least trying to tackle these issues head on.
Yeah, it's still early days,
Yeah.
but it's exciting to see a platform pushing the boundaries and challenging how things are done. It makes us rethink what social media could be.
Let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture. If Flow keeps growing, what kind of impact could it have on how we interact online?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Flow's success could start a ripple effect across the entire digital world.
Wow.
we might see a shift toward platforms that are more decentralized,
Okay.
more community-driven,
Uh-huh.
and that put user well-being and data privacy first.
It's like a whole new way of thinking. Imagine if online interactions were more intentional,
Yeah.
more meaningful, and less controlled by algorithms and advertising.
Right.
I'm actually starting to feel optimistic about the future of social media.
Me too. Flow shows us that there's a different way to do things,
Yeah.
a way that puts human connection before corporate profits.
Right.
But it's not just about flow.
Okay.
It's about the choices we make as users.
Uh-huh.
Do we keep supporting these ad-driven platforms?
Right.
Or do we demand something better?
You know, for the longest time, it felt like I had no choice but to play by the rules of these big platforms.
I know what you mean.
But Flow shows us there are other options. It's
Oh.
empowering.
It really is. And it's not just about which platforms we use.
Okay.
It's about how we use them.
Hmm.
Are we being mindful of our time and energy?
Right.
Are we having conversations that matter?
Yeah.
Are we creating things that make the world a better place?
It's like we need to step up our social media game.
Yeah,
Be more intentional and responsible.
exactly.
I'm ready for the challenge. But let's be real, Flow isn't perfect.
Right.
There are still risks and things to worry about.
Of course, one risk is that flow could become too closed off,
Okay.
too focused on its own little world. If it doesn't find ways to work with other platforms and services,
Yeah.
it could end up isolating itself.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could only talk to people who are also on flow. That would be a step backwards.
It would be like building this beautiful park,
Uh-huh.
but then putting a fence around it and charging people to get in.
Exactly. You'd be leaving a lot of people out. So flow needs to find that balance between keeping its own identity
Right.
and being connected to the rest of the digital world.
I see.
They need to figure out how to be part of the bigger picture without giving up their core values.
Another thing I'm worried about is echo chambers.
Oh, yeah.
With all these micro communities,
Right.
could Flow accidentally create spaces where people only talk to others who already agree with them?
That's a good point.
Wouldn't that limit people's exposure to different perspectives and critical thinking?
That's a valid concern, and it's
Yeah.
something flow needs to be proactive about.
Yeah.
Maybe they could add features that encourage people to interact across different communities
Okay.
or promote content from different viewpoints within those micro communities. The key is to encourage healthy debate and discussion
Right.
without losing that sense of belonging and shared purpose that those micro communities provide.
It's a tricky balance to get right,
It is.
but I have to say I'm impressed with how Flow is approaching these challenges. They seem to really care about creating a more positive and fair online experience.
It's refreshing to see a platform that's actually trying to make a difference.
So where do we go from here? What's next for Flow? What are they planning for the future?
Well, from what I've read in the report, it seems like they're not just sitting back and relaxing.
Oh, so they're still working hard.
Yeah, they're planning to add even better tools for creating content.
Okay.
And they're going to integrate with third-party apps and expand the features for communities.
So they're really building a whole online world.
Yeah, it's not just about connecting with people anymore. It's about
Yeah.
creating things working together and maybe even doing work within these digital spaces.
That makes sense. And what's most important, maybe,
Yeah,
is that they're sticking to their values of privacy and giving users control.
you're right. In this day and age, that's really important.
It's like they're saying, we get it. We know you're sick of all the ads and having your data collected. We're doing something different, something better.
Exactly, and that seems to be resonating with people.
Yeah, but let's think about you, the listener, for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, what really matters is how you experience social media.
That's true.
All this talk about features and trends is cool, but the real question is,
Yeah.
what does Flow mean for your online life?
Right. What are you looking for in a social media platform?
Think about those times when you felt frustrated or disappointed with social media.
Right.
Maybe it's the pressure to look perfect or feeling stuck in an echo chamber.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it's just the feeling of being overwhelmed by too much information.
I know that feeling.
I've totally been there.
Yeah.
Just scrolling and scrolling, feeling like I'm wasting time, but I can't stop.
It's like a bad habit.
It is. And that's where Flow's focus on being intentional is really interesting.
Right.
It's about making choices about how you spend your time online and who you connect with.
Yeah.
It's about creating your own digital experience instead of letting algorithms control you.
I like that. So instead of just passively consuming content,
Yeah.
you become an active participant. You shape your own online world.
It's empowering, right?
It totally is. It's like the difference between just flipping through channels and actually choosing a show to watch.
I see what you mean.
You're in control.
So we've covered what flow is, why it's becoming popular, and how it could change the social media landscape.
We've covered a lot.
But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought-provoking question.
Hit me with it.
With platforms like Flow popping up, do you think the age of social media based on ads is ending?
Whoa.
Are we entering a new era?
Okay.
One that puts users first and values real connection?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But Flow's success shows that people want something different. They're tired of being treated like products, and they're looking for something with more meaning.
So the future of social media is up to us.
Yeah.
We get to decide what kind of online world we want.
All right. Will we keep supporting these platforms that are all about ads?
Yeah.
Or will we choose a new way of connecting?
That's the challenge and the opportunity in front of us. What will you choose? We encourage you to check out Flow and share your thoughts with us because this conversation isn't over, it's just getting started.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.